Hello everyone! Welcome back to Ninja Gaiden with my friend Skyzo. How you doing?
I'm doing well.
A cheetah! Whew! That was close. A hawk! The most dangerous enemy in the game! Those flying guys do 3 points of damage to you. 3!
Really? So they're stronger than, like, the guys with a gun.
3 times stronger.
Damn.
And they're also in the air, and they move super fast, and all you've got is a sword that goes a little bit sideways, and they appear over bottomless chasms, too. Like, these guys are a nightmare. Look at them. The best chance you have against them is to scroll them off the screen rather than fight them. And even that doesn't always work. Like, see, one of the guys we got rid of because he went too fast and went off the screen.
Is there any pattern to them?
There is. They sort of go very wide diagonally as they're coming down till they're near the edge of the screen, and then they go right.
I mean something like, when do they spawn? Is it consistent?
Oh yeah, but you'd have to memorize it in advance.
Yeah, that's what the speedrun of this game is all about.
Indeed. Now, what we have here is the firewall. It's divided into 3 chunks and goes diagonally up. We don't generally want it, but this is the only act in the entire game that does not have the spinning buzzsaw. So for once, we're not going to be able to just cheese the boss. No. What we have instead is the firewall, which can do up to 3 points of damage to him, if we time it right. Scroll him off the screen again. Also be very careful as you're getting the power-up. Stand to the side so another sub-weapon doesn't fall on you. Sorry, what was that, Skyzo?
I see you're doing pause buffering.
Indeed. Oh, here's a cheap shot. First we got infinite spawning cheetahs, and if we jump right, a bird's just waiting to knock us in the abyss.
I mean, you just know that the developers just did it on purpose. Like, they knew you would fall for it.
And here's the hardest boss in the game. There's no particular pattern I can discern for when he spawns those bullets. You just, again, pause buffer, hold up before you unpause, and then do the firewall. You'll take out the 2 upper bullets and then be able to jump over them. And you'll also want to wait till the guy's about on the same column as you before throwing the firewall, because otherwise, not all of the segments will hit, and you'll do less than 3 damage. And here's the speedrun version.
That was over fairly quickly, I'd say.
Good. Now, this is about the point where the speedrun gets really hard. Like, that previous jump there, I was only barely able to press the jump button in time, and for those series, I had to stop holding right for a few moments. Like, you really start having to get extremely exact in order to, like, not run off a cliff or to spawn an enemy too high.
Wait, so...
Yes, Skyzo?
So this isn't tool-assisted? You actually did this legitimately?
Oh no, this part was tool-assisted. It's just, even with tool assistance, it was really hard getting it all exactly right.
Yeah, because it's also impressive. It's like so precise. I was wondering whether you did it legitimately.
Yeah, I could have done it legitimately if I practiced, but, well, I don't have that kind of time. Alrighty, Skyzo, we are about to have one of the most iconic pieces of video game music in the industry, so we'll be silent till about 5:18. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
Now, who are these guys?
CIA operatives.
But why are they here, though?
Well, they've got a task for us.
The setting in this game is kind of like it doesn't seem to have a direction. Like you have ninjas and you have the CIA and you have like animals and the beach. Like I kind of like it though. It's kind of unique, you know.
Yeah, I do too. It does kind of bring up the question of how Ryu can be so easily coerced by guys, and then those same guys need Ryu in order to beat up the big bad guy, and you kind of get into these sort of power level predicaments where it's like Ryu, in the game he's totally awesome, but in the cutscenes he honestly seems kind of weak. I don't know if it's just me, but...
Well, that's usually, like, it's not really a surprise generally when you have a character in a cutscene. You don't want them to make it too easy.
I know, but it's like, can Ryu is Ryu? Oh, okay. Here's our main villain, Guardia de Mew. Wait, that's way too complicated, so let's just call him the Jakio. That's less exotic. That's more exotic, right, Skyzo?
That sounds like the name of a mafia-like villain.
Yeah. Of course, that name was actually mistranslated a bit. It's actually based on 3 Japanese kanji. We have ja, which can be read as, like, evil, wrong, unrighteous. We have ki, which in this context means demon, satanic spirit. And then O means big or lord. So really his name is the Great Demon King. Or just Demon King. That's what Jakio means.
Okay. It actually strikes me as odd that they would remove like references to religious things, but then they would keep words like demon and whatnot.
I don't think they did edit it. Well, remember what we were talking about last time with the shinobi thing?
Yeah, you were going to bring that up as well. That they, like, it's not a mistranslation or anything. It's intended.
Yeah, it's actually the name given in the Japanese script. There was just some guy called Shinobi. And apparently there was a game series called Shinobi 2, which also had a ninja protagonist, so it could be a reference.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Also, here's one of my favorite lines in this entire exchange. If I say no, well, you know the answer to that. I just love it.
So what is he implying by that?
That's the brilliant thing. It's up to you to figure it out. Probably not anything friendly, whatever it is. Like, say we disappeared Ryu, maybe? Or maybe relocated him, maybe Ryu's credit card statements show that he suddenly made some really bad investment decisions. Who knows?
Something like that, I figured.
Act 4. This is where the game really starts heating up. Have you noticed all this?
Looks like a lot of spam.
Again, this is why we want to conserve the spinning buzzsaw. Cause oh boy, you're gonna need it.
So when you don't have, like, if you don't use it, does it carry over how many you have to the next stage?
It does.
Really?
It does. Yeah, there are just some situations where it's honestly like faster and safer to just damage boost through the guys instead of actually trying to kill them. Like, you see that machine guy on the lower ledge where my sword couldn't reach?
Yeah.
That was just mean. Although the game does make up for this, because you see, every time you go into a cutscene and the act hasn't finished yet, the game actually heals your HP to full. Maybe that's why they made it so harsh.
When you have a game that's this difficult, it makes me wonder, like, how did the QA team, how was this game published, you know? Like, usually in these older games, you just have more strict, like, guidelines, I don't know.
I think part of why it was okay was because in the United States, we have a rental. You could just rent games. So Japan didn't have that, but America did. So what they wanted was to avoid situations where people would just rent the game, beat it, and then return it. No, they wanted you coming back to the game so that you'd actually buy it, or at least rent it a few times, and that way it'll be like you bought it.
Okay, so it's kind of like how arcade games would be made very difficult on purpose so that you could fail and spend more money on it.
Yeah, exactly. Of course, Japan didn't have those sorts of things, so a lot of Japanese versions were way easier than their American versions. Although Ninja Gaiden is actually an exception to that. Ninja Gaiden 1 and 2 are just as difficult in the Japanese version. Yes, they even have the spit you back out to the start of Act 6 nonsense. That was even in the Japanese version.
So when you say that the player is reset back to Act 6, like how much progress is actually lost?
Well, there's Act 6, 6-1, 6-2, and 6-3. And if you lose to any one of the 3 final bosses, you get spit all the way back to 6-1.
There's 3 of them?
Yep, 3 final bosses.
Okay, having to fight all of them again, I can see why that's so infamous.
Actually, they stay dead. Each one stays dead.
So you would only have to do the levels again?
Yeah. The thing is, the cutscenes only play once, and the cutscenes are what heal your HP to full, so you'll often walk into some of the most difficult bosses in the game, already battered and beaten. Although, I know of a little trick to get around that. But most casual people don't know.
And what's that?
Oh, I don't want to spoil it. Also, this is a situation where I should have just ditched the candle, because, like, there's all this spam, there's, like, a bottomless pit to the right, and I'm pretty sure that if I'd gotten hit wrong, I could have been damage boosted into the pit. Like, one of the things about this game is knowing which candles to collect, and when you should just say screw it and just move on.
I would say that if this game didn't have something like the knockback mechanic, it would be a lot easier, like, even with this many enemies and this much spam.
It would be.
Yeah, the core of the difficulty in this game is getting knocked into a pit. It's like if you had poise, you could just tank the hit and just progress, but you can't do that.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost as though, like, you could basically just get rid of the life bar, like have a cheat code active to where you take no damage, and it really wouldn't change much. Because the enemies, most of them are fairly weak, aside from the hawks.
Yeah, like you said, the main hazard is the pits, which is interesting. I don't think any other game does this that I can remember.
Certainly interesting, though. Also, here's the boss! There we go.
Can barely do anything.
Well, honestly, it's not that hard in a normal playthrough either. We'll see it at the end of this speedrun section. Oh, I forgot to mention earlier, you'll want to pay close attention to the button inputs to see what times I release the right or left buttons. Because, like, there are all these little moments where I'll stop holding the direction I'm going in for just a brief second, So that, like, say a bird enemy spawns slightly lower than they did before, there's a damage boost. And that wall thing, more of those crazy things that you really shouldn't bother with unless you're actually good at the game, because they're hard to do and they only save a few frames over the course of the run.
For how difficult this game is, what surprises me is that it's so, like, it looks so good, you know?
Indeed. Like, this game, like, you just feel like a ninja master if you can master it. Like, I felt that way even with the assistance of the save states during these speedrun sections.
Yeah, like, what's more is that this is an NES game, so like they had very little to work with, which makes this even more impressive.
Indeed. Like, even compared to other classics like Castlevania, there's just no comparison. You even feel really strong despite everything.
Yeah, I mean, the whole appeal of the game is that, like, difficult games is like the whole appeal of them is that you overcome the great odds, right? That's the whole philosophy of it.
Yeah, and Ninja Gaiden also is exceptionally good at that, like, because as vulnerable as you feel, the enemies all die in like one hit. Like, there are some enemies that take like 2 or 3, but I could count them on one hand, besides the bosses.
So, wait, is the same boss?
Well, yeah. Like, we always fight the bosses 2 times. One time, the easy way, the spinning buzzsaw. The other way, the still really easy, but slightly longer way. Like, for example, with these things, I could just stand under the pillars and they'll basically never hit me. I mean, look at them. It's just sad.
Yeah, they don't seem very difficult.
The only thing is, only one of them actually takes damage. The other one, hitting it won't do anything, so you do have to keep track of who you're hitting. Also, the most inspired villain music you will ever hear. Just one repeating note in various chords. Oh, and here's the CIA operative from earlier in the game.
Okay, so he's holding her hostage.
Yep.
Man, that is a weird face. Look at that.
He's the king of demons. Here's one of my favorite lines. Have a nice day. He's so friendly.
Is that a mistranslation? I can't be right.
I don't know. Oh, you thought this face was weird. Check out this next one.
Let's see.
It's coming. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha.
Okay, this one is... that's more like it. Now he actually looks like a villain.
An anime villain.
Yeah, oh, it counts.
Alrighty then. That was a fun episode. I don't know if we're taking on all of Act 5 and 6 or just Act 5 tomorrow. Act 6 has a lot of nitty-gritty things to go over with it, so we'll be figuring that out as we go along. But thank you so much for joining the both of us, and God bless you, and see ya in the next video.
Okay, bye YouTube.
Bye!